Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who has subscribed and joined my village here on Refreshing Motherhood. I am celebrating 1,000 subscribers today and it's amazing. Like, I can't believe 1,000 of you guys are in this journey with me. It means so much, so I hope you know how much. Like, I truly appreciate each and every one of you and every single comment. Even if I can't respond to every single one, I read them all. They all touch my heart, and just knowing that I have like friends out there who are experiencing the same things as me really means so much. So I posted on my Instagram a picture of this big fat mess and just talking about, like motherhood for me has been a lot of highs and lows, and I experience highs and lows on a daily basis with just trying things and things that just make my heart explode with joy and happiness. So I wanted to know what kind of questions you guys had for me, and kind of like a 1K Q&A. So I'm gonna get started and answer some of your questions that you left on my Instagram. Okay, first question is from Janet Jose, I believe. Her question is, does your baby girl get scared with loud noises? My baby's almost 4 months and he gets scared with any loud noise, and I don't know if only my baby is like that. Chances are your baby's not the only one that does any one particular thing. All babies are different, all babies are unique, but I think that all babies kind of go through a little bit of the same like circumstances and situations. Denver when she was right around, I think it was right around that 4-month mark, she did get scared of loud noises, and she also got scared of changes in light. So if we were in a room and we were to walk out of the room, like down the hallway that was dark, she would jump and kind of scream and get scared. But she got over that pretty quickly. I think the more they are aware and the more that they start to, like their eyes develop and they start to see like more of the space, I think that kind of goes away a little bit. But I think it's totally normal for your baby to be afraid of loud noises, especially if you had more of like a low-key quiet pregnancy. We have Annie, so Annie barked a lot like when I was pregnant next to my belly. So Denver like does not even jump when it comes to like Annie barking. So I think it's just kind of what they're used to, but definitely not alone. This is such a great question. Okay, this is from Willa Allison, and she said, how do you balance doing YouTube along with being a wife and mom? Is it difficult to do? I'm interested in starting a YouTube channel of my own, but I'm not sure how to balance it all. This is something that I don't know if I do like the best. YouTube is something that I have grown very passionate about and something that I have really loved and enjoyed. So it's almost a like outlet for me. It's an outlet for me to be creative and express myself, and I think that it really kind of fuels me to be able to hear back from all of you guys and things like that. So you kind of, I say number one, like my first priority is my family, like overall, and YouTube will never come in the place of that, and YouTube will never get in the way of that or take priority over my family. So if Denver's not feeling well, or if something goes on, like the YouTube video can wait, like the editing can wait. And if you follow my vlogging channel, you've seen that sometimes vlogs don't go up on time, and that's because I'm taking care of my family before I'm working on the video. As far as how do I balance it, like logistically, for our vlogging channel, we film 5 days a week and we take 2 days off, and that's helpful because we have time to refresh and regroup. And then for my channel, I always film when Denver's napping unless she's in the video with me, and I try to find times, like quiet times during the week, or typically on the weekends. If we're just having like a low key day, then Seth can help me. He can set up the camera for me. He always does a much better job with his camera than I do with mine, but he can set up the camera and do those things, and I can film, and I try to film in like bursts. So if she's taking a great nap, I can like film 2 or 3 videos in one sitting, and then I can edit them throughout the week and post them on the days that I designate, which is the 2 days a week. So you just kind of have to figure out what works for you. I would say definitely start, like don't get hung up on like starting. The biggest regret we have about YouTube is not starting sooner, because it's been so amazing for us. So start off slow. If you want to start off with 1 video a week or 2 videos a week, then do that and kind of see how it fits into your daily life. But I will say that sometimes it can be difficult, it can be hard. if I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to edit, and I put timer down and I'm editing the video, and then like that's my only alone time with my husband, and I don't want to sacrifice that either. So I try to edit like also when she's napping, or sometimes I'll edit and Seth will go on a run, and then, you know, we kind of work that into our schedule. So I think it's just whatever works best for your family. K Morris 2522 asks, what is one of your favorite childhood memories, not counting Seth? And I have so many great childhood memories. Probably one of my favorites is waking up early in the morning and like being half asleep and having my parents put my sister and I in our big van when we're little, and then falling back asleep and driving for hours and then waking up in Disneyland. That was always like the biggest treat. My parents a couple times would surprise us. So at one point, I remember, this is probably one of my favorite memories ever. My mom told us that we were going to a furniture store to get new furniture for our house, and she tricked us. And I remember like waking up in Disneyland, which was like 7 hours away from us, and I saw like Disneyland Drive, the sign, and I just remember like I was so giddy and so excited, and I pretended to go back to sleep because I didn't want my mom to know that I knew where we were. But that's like always my favorite memories are when she would surprise us, and my sister and I would just like have bean bags and watch movies and have snacks in the car all the way to Disneyland. Christina Keys asks, what have you found to be the most difficult part of motherhood? For me, it's the seemingly endless worry and not being able to switch off even when I have the opportunity. I wanted to share what she said because I totally get that. I totally agree with that. And that's something that has been hard for me. I think the hardest part for me has been just realizing that it's harder than I thought. I thought that it would become so natural because I always felt like called to be a mother, and while motherhood has been natural, there's also been times where I don't know what I'm doing, and it's really, really hard to like feel that way. And so I think just trying to balance like feeling like you're doing enough for your baby and enough for your husband and enough for your house and enough for your career, like all at the same time, has been really challenging. And specifically my anxiety has been really difficult to keep under control, which I think I'm doing a good job right now, but I definitely have moments where it's hard like to not be anxious about like this world and things that are happening, and also not sleeping. That's really hard too. Okay, Liz Fetch, she asks, oh, I have a question for you from a future mother. How has having a baby affected your love life? I'm afraid my husband and I will focus on so much on our children that we'll forget to nurture our marriage. This is something that is like so common, especially in first-time parents, because you're so wrapped up in your baby and you want to like, you just love your baby so much, and it comes from such a good like pure place of you and your husband both, like as mom and dad, are putting your time and energy into your kids. And I think what gets hard is that when you do become those mom and dad roles, it's really difficult to reestablish yourself as husband and wife. So I think that taking specific time to, out of every single day, to devote back to each other is so important. And for Seth and I, it's after the baby goes to bed, we watch a show and we talk, and we just have that time to be together and do things together, and going on dates and things, and we even bring the baby with us for like most of our dates, and that's fine. It's just being a family. We've definitely felt the difficulty of putting so much energy into Denver that, yeah, like our marriage does feel that, but I think that it just is, it's adding a whole it's adding another level and another layer to like our relationship with each other, and it has helped us grow closer together and to love each other in a brand new way, which is really amazing to see. So it's a daily effort to make sure that you are nurturing that relationship, and you can totally do it, but you can't let it slip away. And if one of you, I think the biggest thing for us has been communication. If one of us feels like we're not communicating or we're not feeling that like effort from the other, we communicate that right away, and then we can resolve it and you know, kind of work those feelings out and get back on track. Brianne Steffi says, do you ever experience mom guilt? If so, how do you deal with it? And this one's really like, yeah, of course I experience mom guilt. I don't know a mom that doesn't. It's really hard because as a mom, you want to put so much of your energy into your baby, and if you take time away to clean the house or make dinner, or you know, like for me, it happens a lot when I leave her. If I leave her to go on a run, or if I leave her to go to dinner with my husband, like those are times where I feel so guilty because I know how much she like loves me and just wants to be with me, and she doesn't really know anything else. So I think that I have to kind of in my head work out like, what is the overall benefit of the situation? Like, is it just having a clean house just to have a clean house? Because that, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. Like, that can go to the side, and I can play with my baby instead. If it's like I need a break and getting out of the house and going on a run will help my mental like wellness, then that's worth it, and that is more important for Denver than me staying home and getting super frustrated. So I think that you like know that your mom guilt is coming from a place of love, and you want to do the absolute best job that you can be, and we're critical on ourselves as moms, and just know that you are doing an amazing job. Okay, I'm sorry this video is getting really long, but you guys are asking amazing questions, and I really want to like give you like full answers back, so I'm gonna try to be more concise, but I talk a lot. Okay, Breeze Health asks, what advice would you give your pregnant self about being a first-time mom? I would say to be a little bit easier on myself. I still am. I'm really hard on myself, and if Denver's schedule changes, or she's upset one day, or she doesn't sleep very well at night, I immediately think, what did I do wrong? You know, what mistakes did I make? How can I make this better? And I think that it would just be like, be a little bit more gentle on yourself and just kind of take it as it comes, and every day won't be perfect, and that's okay. Carolyn Brennan, gosh guys, I don't know how to pronounce your names. She said, you mentioned in a vlog a few weeks ago that you've gotten into some bad habits with Denver's sleep. Could you elaborate on them and explain how you corrected them, if you managed to do that? And then thank you for your sweet like comment after that. That was really nice. So I do want to elaborate on this because this is exactly what I was just talking about, where if something goes wrong, I immediately think that I did something wrong. And Denver was sleeping 12 hours at night, like 12 hours, like no wake ups, was not nursing at night, and it was great. And then she started waking up like a little bit less and a little bit less, or I'm sorry, waking up more and more. And I felt like, okay, I'm doing something wrong, and I shouldn't be soothing her or rocking her or nursing her when she wakes up, because that's teaching her, you know, that she can just wake up. And I feel like I struggled internally with feeling like she's waking up because I did something wrong and I need to correct it, and I'm creating a bad habit of her wanting to sleep with me or her wanting to nurse all night long. But what I have really kind of settled on, and what I feel most comfortable with myself, is the fact that she's waking up at night because something's going on. Like, she can sleep through the night, but sometimes she doesn't. Most nights right now she doesn't, and she's going through a leak. She could be teething, she could be going through a growth spurt, she could be getting sick. Like, there's so many other reasons, and I feel like you have to decide as a mom what you feel like internally, what sits well with you, what you feel most comfortable with, because only you know your baby. And I was trying to like, okay, well, I'm gonna sleep train her and I'm gonna do this, and it was not working, and she was telling me like, this isn't right and something's wrong. And so I really had to take a step back and say, okay, it doesn't matter what the books say or what, you know, like my friends say. It just matters what I think my baby needs, and that's what I need to focus on. So that remark kind of like, I contradict that remark now in my thinking, and I think that that was just kind of a test of like my patience and a test of like my motherly instincts. And I really felt like that they were bad habits, but I don't feel like that anymore, and that's just like me personally. So I'm okay with her waking up at night because I think she needs it, and one day she won't do that anymore, and you know, one day we won't be nursing, and I know I'm gonna miss it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on now. P. Mickens said, which holiday are you looking forward to the most for Denver? Hands down, Christmas. I actually was due 2 weeks to the day after Christmas, and I was secretly hoping she would come before Christmas because I wanted her to be there like for Christmas Day so bad. So I cannot wait for this Christmas. Okay, SD Witty says, you mentioned once that a doctor said you might have trouble conceiving, and I was curious what made him think that and how you overcame it. So yes, I had difficulty with my like reproductive system. I had really bad really long, painful, miserable menstrual cycles. So I was on birth control to try to maintain them, correct them, and the hormones that I was on just weren't working, and I was switching and I was trying a bunch of different kinds and trying to figure out what was going to work with my body. And I ended up basically having a hormonal overdose of like hormones in my reproductive system. Like, it was too much. I was taking too much. I had misinformation and was misdiagnosed for like a specific dosage of the birth control from a doctor that caused this to happen. I was having horrible side effects, like so miserable, so terrible. So I basically went in, and my cervix was fried, what they called, like from like all of these overdose of hormones in my body. And my doctor told me that because of this damage, it was probably unlikely that I would be able to get pregnant on my own, or very, very difficult that would be able to happen, at least for a few years, until my body healed and kind of recorrected itself and was away from all birth control. So I went off of birth control, and Seth and I knew that we wanted a family. We didn't at that moment feel like we wanted a family right now, so we were okay with the diagnosis of, okay, it might take a few years for your body to heal. So we just decided, you know what, like, if it's gonna happen, then God wanted this baby here at this time, and we will welcome that. And if not, then we'll cross the bridge of infertility when and if it comes. So it was, I don't even think it was 6 months later that I got pregnant with Denver. So it was amazing, and we felt so blessed that I was able to get pregnant naturally without any assistance or help. And we just felt so grateful that she's in our lives, and so grateful that God's timing was way better than ours. Lindsay B81 says, what's your favorite guilty pleasure food? Anything with cinnamon, like a cinnamon roll or a churro, or like a dessert like that. Oh yeah, I'm all over that. But like a breakfast dessert. I could eat like a breakfast, like a donut. Oh man, now I want a donut. Kel Quillen says, do you have a schedule for when you breastfeed Denver now that she's older? If so, what? A lot of people say that you can't or shouldn't schedule feedings when you nurse, but I feel like I'd go crazy without one. So we have kind of a loose schedule, and that basically is not like specific times of the day, but like hours. So when she was younger, it was every 3 hours. I would offer her, if she was acting like she wanted to nurse before then, I wouldn't withhold her, or if she wasn't hungry, I wouldn't force her, but about that every 3 hour mark. Now she is going, or she started transitioning about 6 months old when we started solids, to going 1 4 hour stretch a day. And now that she's 8 months old and really eating a lot, she's going consistently 4 hours in between feedings, and then she'll probably have 1 5 hour stretch a day. And I just kind of gauge it as far as, basically, like, she nurses when she first wakes up in the morning, and then she has breakfast like an hour or so after that, and then a couple hours later she will nurse and then go down for her nap, and then lunch, nurse, nap, dinner, nurse, like that type of thing. She does have at night one kind of like a little bit more of like a cluster feeding, which she's always done ever since she was a newborn. It would be like every half hour, and then every hour, and now it's like every 2 to 3 hours, starting at like, she'll nurse at 2 and then 5 and then bedtime. So that 5 o'clock feeding's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes she doesn't want it, sometimes she does. Sometimes she'll nurse for only a couple minutes during that feeding, and sometimes she nurses for more. So that's kind of our loose schedule, but I definitely never ever withhold and never ever force her. Like, you can't force her to nurse. So I hope that that's a little bit helpful. And my last question is from Nikki, and she's actually one of my friends from college, which is cool. She says, what's the toughest thing about being a young mom? And I think that it's not having a ton of support for people around you. And this is aside from like friends and family. This is strictly like not having a lot of other moms the same age as you, going through the same things as you, with kids the same age as yours. I've been grateful that other moms have been reaching out to me and just kind of fostering those relationships of like just being able to say, like, you know, gosh, like, I had a hard day today, like, how about you? And you can kind of it's like refreshing to be able to talk to somebody who literally knows exactly what you're experiencing and exactly what you're going through. So it can feel a little bit isolating, which is why YouTube has been so important to me and such a huge outlet for me, and I honestly don't know what I would do without it. YouTube led me to one of my best friends, like meeting her, and we talk every single day now, and it's like amazing, this community that we have. I know that wasn't like the question, but anyways, that's been a hard part about being a young mom specifically, is just that a lot of times it's hard when you feel like you're alone and you feel like you're isolated. So if you feel like that, I am here for you. Reach out to me. We can talk, we can communicate. That's what this is all about. That's what my channel is all about. So I know that this was an insanely long video, like 20 minutes. If you're still here, let me know in the comments below. Let's do something fun. Like, what's your guilty pleasure food? If you watched the whole video, tell me in the comments below. And I just want to thank you so much again for being with me in this channel and asking me all these amazing questions. It's so awesome, and I love this so much, and I'm really excited about where my channel is headed and just the direction that it's going in. I think it's been just more than I could have ever asked for. So if you have any specific video requests, please also leave them in the comments below, and feel free to follow me on my personal Instagram, which is just at Tayler Cooley, and then also on my Refreshing Motherhood Instagram, which is just at Refreshing Motherhood. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye guys. To cook these pancakes, the batter is a little bit thick, and it just makes them fluffy and rise up so well, and I find that the coconut oil replaces butter just fine, and it's much healthier. So I'm gonna let these cook on one side and then go ahead and start cutting up some fruit. And the baby just woke up. Perfect timing!